This is Greg Harries. I'm going to be your live stream host for our LTAB Indy Finals today. In this bout, we are starting. We've got three preliminaries today. We've got bout 1 at 2 o'clock. Bout 2, we're aiming for 3:15, and bout 3, we're aiming for 4:30. In this bout, according to my last information, anyhow, we have cha cha cha. These are the poets that are in this bout. So we've got Taesung Kim from Mount Michael, Bianca Swift from Burke, Haley Stoltz from Bellevue West, Kaylin Snodgrass from Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson, Megan Geese from Bellevue East. I wasn't trying to make that rhyme. I just wasn't sure of how to pronounce her name, and then it ended up rhyming. Maribel Navarrete from Ralston, Nathan Check from Omaha Central, and Chris Morgan from Lincoln Southeast. So each of those schools have put forward a student that they think exemplifies the kind of writing and the work that their school generates, and they'll be going head to head. So it's going to be a round, 2-round slam. Nobody will be cut or eliminated during the course of the slam, but the top 4 in this slam will be going on to the finals, which start at 7:30 or at 7 o'clock. Sorry. And those finals will have the top 4 poets from each of the 3 preliminary bouts, and you'll be able to tune in and check out the kind of the best of the best when it comes to these indie pieces in this amazing year of Louder Than a Bomb Omaha, or Louder Than a Bomb Great Plains, pardon me. The kids from Council Bluffs and Lincoln would not be happy to hear that I just called it Louder Than a Bomb Omaha, because we've grown. We're big. 32 schools competed this year. It all ended with Lincoln High taking the win. But more importantly, what we had was 21 bouts, sharing hours and hours of powerful story after powerful story, remarkably well written and well performed. And today you're going to see some of the best in that group. So it's going to be really, really fun. I'm going to be here kind of giving commentary and like responding to poems and encouraging things as they go along. I'll be trying to keep scores for you. So yeah, it's just going to be a great time. So tune in, share the link. We're at youtube.com/LTABOmaha. You know that, but your friends and family don't. So let them know that. And we'll get started here. We just did the bout draw. We're going to get rolling here in a little bit. I'm going to turn the volume down because I'm going to be done talking for a little bit. But get active in the chat room. Let people know what you're watching. Share the link. And, yeah, it's just going to be really awesome. I think you're going to hear some of my personal favorite poems from the year in each and every one of these bouts. There are going to be there's just some really great writing. And all of these poets are trying to get to the finals where they have an opportunity to win that golden trophy. Only when they win it, it will be full of Pop-Tarts. So, that's in the mix. So yeah, pass it on. This is me. Hi. Hello. So pass the link on, let people know, and we're gonna get rolling in probably like five to 10 minutes at most. We're trying to move things along today and keep them rolling. So I'll talk to you soon. Share the link. Bye. All right, these are our hosts, John and they're going to be hosting today. They'll introduce themselves shortly. I thought we were starting. False alarm. But I'll have the bout order for you in just a little bit.
Hello, hello, people of Louder Than a Bomb. How are we feeling today? All right. I could use a little bit more enthusiasm. How are we feeling today? All right, we do not have our full audience yet, so I'm going to need you to provide that amount of energy all the way through. So I will be your host, John Ratz.
And I'm Adam DeJosie.
And he will be my co-host. All right.
Yeah!
So, how many of you have never, ever been to a poetry slam in your entire life?
Lies.
Oh, I believe that you're all liars. Okay. So, slam poetry was invented in the 1980s by a Chicago poet and construction worker named Mark Smith.
So what?
And in 2001, Louder Than a Bomb was created in Chicago by poets Kevin Coval and Anna West. There we go. And now we have Louder Than a Bomb Great Plains, which is in its third year with 32 teams across Nebraska and Iowa, which makes us the third largest youth slam in the world, and I think that's pretty darn cool. All right, so here's what's going to happen in this competition. We will have 8 poets in our first round, and each poet will be individually representing a school, and there'll be 2 rounds in this competition, all right? And so the our first round is going to be determined by the pre-drawn order, and then the second round is going to be determined by the scores from the first round, the order of that round. And the at the end of this entire bout, the person with the highest, the 4 people with the highest cumulative scores will go on to the finals. Adam, what are the rules of this competition?
Each poem will be original work. Will last no longer than 3 minutes and 10 seconds. We start docking points after that. And will not feature any props, costumes, or accompaniments from anyone other than competing poets.
Thank you, Adam. And so in the interest of creating the safest and most inclusive space possible, we ask that the poems not contain profanity, sexually explicit or pornographic language, gratuitous violence, racial, ethnic, gender bias, homophobic, religious, ableist, or otherwise discriminatory slurs, speech, or language. That said, perhaps. That said, the poets may issue a trigger warning before their poems if they feel the subject matter requires it. So each poem will be scored by 5 lovely judges in the audience. Judges, will you please raise your scorecards for me? Ooh. All right, clap for them now because you might not clap for them later. All right, so the judges will be scoring from a 0.0 to a 10.0 going out to 1 decimal place. Now, Adam, what is a 0.0?
A 0.0 is roughly equivalent to going on a hunting trip with Dick Cheney.
And how about a 10.0? What's a 10.0 like, Adam?
A 10.0 would be having your hair ruffled by Tom Hanks.
Doesn't that sound lovely? All right, so we will be dropping the high and low score from our judges just to account for any bias that may be present that we couldn't select for because we didn't know you before then. And so at the end of the bout, we're going to add those scores together, and like I said, the top 4 will be going on to the finals. And so Adam, what should the judges be looking for when they score?
Well, when scoring a poem, it's really all subjective. But from that, you take from the crowd, take from the performance, and if it really strikes a chord with you, write a number corresponding with that. And it'll all be all right.
An audience, even though you don't have scorecards, you're supposed to react, okay? So if you hear a poem, that's amazing, it's tremendous, and you loved it, and the judges give it like a 6.5, what do you do? Yeah! And what if you hear a similarly wonderful poem and the judges give it like, oh, I don't know, like a 9.8? Yes, that is the correct reaction. That's the correct way to feel. Okay, so.
First, let's turn off some cell phones. And then we'll bring up our first sacrificial poet.
Yes, I believe it is time to spill some blood upon this stage. All right, so our sacrificial poet will be the way for our judges to cut their teeth, so to speak, on poetry. So we're going to bring someone up, and they're going to do a poem. This poet is not in this bout of the competition, and then the judges will give a score as a regular poem, like any other poem in the competition, but they will use this poem to gauge their scores throughout the rest of the bout. Like if you like a poem later on more, you'll score it higher. If you like a poem later on less than this poem, you score it lower. So it's your little calibrator. So Adam, who is our sacrificial poet?
Please welcome the lovely and talented Mary Beth Becker.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth Becker. I'm a poet from Duchenne. This is my sacrificial poem called I Paid Attention in Science Class Just So I Could Write This, a love poem. I am in love with you like a subscription to Geological Magazine. Thoughts of you are delivered to my doorstep bi-monthly, and I am 600% done with your issues, but bro, this is the most sincere I've felt since the last full moon, the brightest my cheekbones have fleshed. Dude, you're the superlative emotion. Tonight, I wait for the FedEx man to drop off my infatuation with your styrofoam peanut self. I wonder if you know that every time you jump to catch a frisbee, my heart does the same. My heart leaps 6 feet closer to the clouds. My heart is the frying pan you used as a childhood drum. My heart is a Lego that won't hurt to step on. My heart is tied with the most truthful of ribbons. My heart was never something I wanted to write about. I love you the way coal changes to diamonds. It is slow and burning and, ooh, shiny. Whew. You were obsidian, glimmering at the top of my sternum, suppressing my respiratory system and pushing my heart farther into my rib cage. Third grade science taught me about the rock cycle, told me how every mineral on this boulder of a planet connects with the others across thousands of years, and our lives are intertwined over hundreds of miles, and I am bolder for the connection. I love you like geology, the way bonded hydrocarbons can form limitless chains of atoms, the way a sedimentary rock is changed, pressurized, heated until it is molten and oozing and gleaming with newness. This attraction is metamorphic. When you speak, I melt into magma. If your voice weren't so glowing, I think I'd still be a solid. Instead, I'm smoldering every time you part those glacial lips of yours. We are plate tectonics. One day, I'll spin your synesthesia outward, and when you speak, your voice will erupt in gemstones. I want to crystallize the sound of your heartbeat, hang it from a sunlit window to show you just how much light you provide me, you spherolytic rock, you kaleidoscope of thoughts, you radiant texture, my opal-eyed poet. You rock.
That was Mary Beth Becker. She is our calibration poet from Duchenne Academy. Just warming things up for the judges. Let's see how those scores come back.
All right, so judges, as I said, this poet is not part of the competition, and you are going to score the rest of the bout based on this poem. All right, so on the count of 3, I'm going to have you hold those up. 3, 2, 1, hold them up. All right, scores from low to high are going to be a 5.9, 8.7, 8.8, 8.9, and a 9. And judges, I will be announcing the scores, so I'm the only one who needs to see your scoreboard. So you don't need to ban it for the audience. All right, so our first poet of this competition will be Haley from Bellevue West. Welcome, poet, to the stage.
All right, so Haley comes from Bellevue West, one of an outgoing senior this year.
My name is Haley, and I'm a senior from Bellevue West.
Is there something cool here?
If Jesus was alive today, would he be a soldier?
Would he wear a crown of barbed wire and a shield of prayers? Would he turn water into ammunition, perform exorcisms on the other nation's army? Would he crumble up his tombstone commandment, thou shalt not kill, for nationalism, for pride, for peace? 3 single-file lines of soon-to-be murderers march back and forth on their training field. They didn't know soon they'd be stomping in blood, trained killers with a purpose. They sign up for war with their right hand on their pistol. They need no other answers. Enlistment papers sign their way to heaven. They pray the rosary on the plane ride over. The first time for strength, and then for uncertainty. Lastly, for forgiveness. Each beat is 100 lives lost. Birds sending prayers to soldiers get lost along the way. No Star of Bethlehem guides them. They shot it down. Innocents crunched like bones. Can you hear the ram's horns blowing? These combat boots have seen more than the dirt road, trenches, swallowing ditched people, machine guns shooting crosses into civilians' hearts. The walls of Jericho are kneeling for God, 35 degrees for 35 feet. 40,000 troops asked Jordan to breathe. Flowing forgotten faith, her parched animosity left the city dry. January 10th, Israel crossed the Jordan here on dry ground. Flint knives carved images of milk and honey in our minds, dreams 11 feet high. The troops marched for 7 days around the city. The 7th time, the 7th day, the walls disintegrated, stones crumbled like a cookie awaiting to burn. We are rebuilding the city. Will the sun stand still when we lose our firstborn child, the foundation of hatred, and our youngest son when the gates swing open? Because I do not remember reading a disclaimer on the Bible that if they're not your people, they're not people. I was once blind, but now I see that there is no need to pick battle sides, and we're all fighting against the same demon. Dear Lord, resurrect our country's morals. Expose the camouflage sins hiding behind honor and glory. Bestow upon us the ability to compromise. Father, they know not what they do. Son, every time a gun shoots, an angel's scream will ring. Holy Spirits, they'll spread their trophies at your feet. Amen.
So that was Haley from Bellevue West, an outgoing senior this year. One of their strongest writers and performers. Always a pleasure to see her. So, yeah, really strong piece. A nice high-energy piece to open things up. It can be hard to go first on a bout, but let's see how it goes.
8.0. We have a 9. Another 9. 9.3. And a 9.5. All right, let's hear it from Megan from Bellevue East.
It's a 27.3 for Haley from Bellevue West, and following her is a contemporary from the school across town, Haley from Bellevue East. Bellevue East was a new school in our competition this year. Strong turnout. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I'm from Bellevue East High School.
Represent, represent!
And this piece is called Remedies. I can still remember the way the awkward silence hung in the air, sitting there like a big, giant, cliched elephant. My parents don't say anything. They don't want to get involved. This is what dinner at my grandfather's house is like. I make the 6-hour drive several times a year to have him tell me what I should be doing with my life. He asks me what I want to major in college. When I say poetry, he is disappointed. Says there's no money in that. He asks me if I've considered law school. After all, I'd make a great lawyer. Or maybe medical school, he says. Go to medical school. Become a doctor. Become something that actually makes a difference. This is when I cannot take it anymore. I want to tell him when I was closer to death than I've ever been before, it wasn't a doctor who saved me. It was a collection of words all placed in the right way, and they all said stay. It was a stranger who never saw me, who never spoke to me, but who knows me, who's felt what I've felt, who wasn't saved by a doctor. Not all ailments come in the form of viruses or bacteria. Not all sicknesses take the time to shut down your organs, to cripple your legs. Some just go straight for your mind, and I don't need a lawyer to tell me that a doctor can't cut that away. I'm tired of taking pill after pill for things I know how to solve myself with paper and a pen. I don't want to become something. I want to become someone. I want to write something that makes you want to wake up tomorrow, that makes you believe there will be tomorrow. I want to show you not all remedies come in the form of a bottle of pills or beer or bleach. Some are small and quiet and room-shaking and life-altering and enough. I'm not looking for money, and neither are you. We all just want to live our lives in a way that we can look back and say, maybe I never really knew what I was doing, but you can't say I didn't know why.
All right, that was Megan from Bellevue East. Again, a first-year team in the competition. It's very fearless writing from her, very personal. Let's see how the judges respond to that. They've been liking it all year long.
1. All right. Our scores from low to high are a 7.9, an 8.0, an 8.3, 8.4, and a 9. All right, let's keep up the applause. We welcome up Chris from Lincoln Southeast.
So the judges took a bit of a dip on that one. Clearly must have been responding to Haley's energy. I mean, we don't care about the scores, but that's a 24.7, sorry, for Megan from Bellevue East. Here's Chris.
Hi, my name is Chris Morton. I'm a poet from Lincoln Southeast High School. This poem is called The Paradigm of a Shell-Shocked New Kid, a.k.a. Soda. I have reoccurring memories of greener trees and Hennessy. To me it was yesterday, but in reality it was 2 years ago. So I hear and I know and I appear to be almost consecutively stuck in the past as if Connecticut were my heroin. Relapse and I'm back to a parallax between ice cream and isolation. I mean, I love Connecticut, but at the same time I hate it. The last 365 days when gave my granny a brain aneurysm, you get me? On track to halfway across the country. Each month for music, I'm going to miss you, but at the same time, I'm among mixed company, mixing months, and imagine me, afflicted with insanity, coexist amongst the beasts, and 3 snakes. Imagine hateful as an inborn character trait carried with me, and of late I justify that hate. With a brief synopsis. Connecticut is better, but I hate it. I'm indebted, and it raised me, and it hates me, and it's driven me crazy, but it's given me everything. They say home is where the heart is, so go ahead and call me heartless. Post-haste exodus from Connecticut, scorched earth en route to the exit, but now it's cornfields, not canopies. Amber waves, not the greenest trees, not quite where I want to be, and honestly, I can't go back. I can't go home, and nobody knows. Nobody knows what it feels like to be alone. To be alone in your own home, but the house is not your home. The chair is not your throne, and these people, they're not your own. Those who are no longer friends, but festering scars like broken toy cars, childhood friends. I've seen their eyes swirl. Don't pretend. But I do. I pretend it's a sad to see song to sing. I pretend nothing's wrong and everything's okay. So when you call me, it's midnight, so I'm salty and you're drunk. A friendship faulty and yet not. And I hate Nebraska and I'd come home faster, but if I told you the past 6 days of laughter have to be at least equivalent from the last 6 days in CT. You'd say I'm crazy, right? To alienate my old life, my whole life. But I have a hole in this quote-unquote whole life that is a hole tight between 2 groups, 2 states, and eternally irate disposition, or a 3-day transition from a place that you love to a Hicks paradise. I'm scared and you feel like nobody's there and like nobody cares, and I suppose it's like a juxtapose, a give and a take, a love and a hate, or high school experience negated and I hate it like days came and went or the price of a high school year. Same as an unblinked tear and I'm bitter. Bitter as tricks, bars with no sugar, and new cars with no old friends. And most bitter of all is the realization that there's nothing left for me there. I get back and it's either old memories or blank stares and reoccurring nightmares of home. My old friends' aspirations are getting drunk and aggravated at me. And Benji's far gone on his own high school odyssey, and I couldn't come along. And Asha and Kevin have moved on, and remembering is just that, a memory. And it hurts the most when it feels like that's all I've left.
So that is Chris from Lincoln Southeast. Great team in this competition. Just fell out of semifinals, but wonderful team that was coached by Reagan Myers, who's a former LTAP student herself.
3, 2, 1.
Really powerful mix of lyrical.
High, we have a 7.5.
Come on.
We have a 7.9.
Sorry.
An 8.0.
Come on.
8.9. And a 9.4. All All right, representing Mount Michael, give it up for Tae Sung.
All right, so that's a 24.8. Judges have really, Haley made a really powerful impression on these judges. They've calmed down from her. I thought that poem deserved more. There's a lot of lyrical development in there, a lot of cool stuff. This is Tae Sung from Mount Michael.
Hello, I'm Tae-Sung Kim from Mount Michael, and this is a poem called Escargot. Escargot is what I would like to have. Living in Paris, sipping a cup of cappuccino, looking over a window, looking at people in French court on the heavy cold cloud, I like to have escargot. When the sun finally appears, when the soak street shines, I like to grab my topper hat and escort tie, walking on the river sheen, holding an umbrella, I like to have an escargot. Fancy is my trait, while others tend to be cool and swag, while others tend to be learn play guitar and make a hole in their jean. I look upper class, fancy, reading all the poems and novellas and just fancy at all. And this led me to fly overseas, but I land in this middle cornfield where cows moo and cows caw. Not a megapolis where buildings like never sleeps and where there are always escargot. So I must do something. So I joined the theater and memorized a speech from the Macbeth. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, quick in petty pace, to the last syllable or recorded time. I also joined the speech team so I can wear suit and tie on the weekend. I joined the poetry club and tell my poems to roommate. I tried to learn French accent, although it mixed with my Asian accent and was kind of weird. I taught myself to tie a bow tie since regular tie is too common. Years after living like this, a big question up in my head: am I really loyal? My father is just a salary man. My mom cuts coupon. Although the fancy trade made me most classic classmate of the class, I don't have any loyal blood. Feels like I'm a big buffoon. But even if I never see a Rolex in my eyes, even if I never smelled a wine before, who cares? I still can speak little French, casquette to faire. I still raise my pinky to drink something. I still tie a bow tie. So, for God's sake, for the bloody last time, I like to have an escargot. Merci beaucoup.
It's Tae Sung from Mount Michael performing Escargot, one of our crowd favorites and student favorites from this year.
I would like to see them scores. 3, 2, 1. All right, from low to high, we have a 9. 9.1, 9.2, 9.2, and a 9.4. Let's hear it for the poet. All right, next up from Ralston is Maribel.
That's a 27.5 for Tae Sung, coming in with those strong scores. Judge is ready to laugh, apparently. Here's Maribel from Ralston.
Hi, my name is Maribel Navarrete, and I'm representing Ralston High School. When I was 9, my friend asked me what part of Mexico I was from. I blinked with bewilderment because I did not know how to answer her. Later that day, I went to my mother. I said, "Mommy, what part of Mexico are you from?" The look on her face sent me searching for a way to fix my question, but it wasn't until she answered that I realized it wasn't the way I had asked. Santiago, Chile, and Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I'm not Mexican? After that, my mother would fill my head with the stories of my elders, my great-grandmother's search for answers, my uncle's untimely death, the disrespect my family was shown, but because I was so young, I didn't understand what that meant. When I was 15, I asked again, "Mommy, can you tell me the story about Abu?" This time, I hear words like exile, murder, and kidnapping, and I didn't know what to think. But because I am my mother's daughter and curiosity runs through my veins, this time I ask questions. This time, hearing words like torture, taken, and broken, I felt an anger that fueled my already fatal pride because I am South American. To you, that may not mean much, but to us, it means everything. You see, I've got two sides. Chilenos are naturally snippy creatures that will tear your heart out with our words and not give a second thought about it. A true Chileno will tell you exactly what is on our mind, even if you did not ask, but an Argentino. An Argentino will soothe you, smooth out the icing until it is the right kind of silk. We are storytellers, silver tongues, soothsayers. We know our histories because we lived it. They lived it. 17 years old, I asked again. By this time, the story was my favorite because it is one I knew so well, but this time, my mother said this: friend, secrets, and cyanide. My family was politically exiled from our country because we fought for what they believed in. My uncle and his wife were tortured after they couldn't get out of the house fast enough to get away when a friend of theirs sold them out to the military, and their infant daughter was given to a military family after she was born. No one in my family saw her for 26 years, and my great-grandmother, to this day, helps to search for the many men, women, and children who know the stories that contain words like torture, taken, and cyanide. Did you know about the pistol on his side, or even about the cyanide? Cyanide, for what would he have needed cyanide? How many tears would he have cried? For the pride that he never let die. So to you who ask me what part of Mexico I am from, I will tell you this: Mexico is not the only place with Latino people. I am South American.
All right, that is Maribel from Ralston with one of the most ferocious identity pieces that have come out of this tournament. Definitely a favorite. Maribel actually represented Omaha at the Women of the World Poetry Slam in Austin this year, so she's a astonishingly talented young poet. Come on.
We have an 8.9.
Come on.
Another 8.9. Emotion, people, do you have it? 9.0. And a 9.6. All right, next up, Bianca from Bout.
All right, so that's a 26.8 for Maribel for her first round score, putting her in third place behind Taesung and then Haley at the moment. Scores are cumulative, so they'll be adding up with the scores from the round 2 poems. Here we go. Next poet up.
I know how to work it now. Hello, my name is Bianca Swift. I'm from Burke High School, and this is Speak From Your Soul, but not really. Speak from your soul. Tell us how you really feel, but don't shout, don't stutter, don't curse, and don't say anything you're not supposed to. If you're 16, don't use a 19-year-old's vocabulary, and if you're 23, don't complain like a 90-year-old. Express yourself, they say. Yet here they are judging the contents of my truth, weighing it against my life like they know me. That's not really you. Well, how do you know? How can you come and tell me I shouldn't use words like colloquialism, purgatory, perturbed? If you must know, I seek solace in those words you say I shouldn't know because they are larger than 2 syllables. You tell me to be myself. You want to talk about world issues and on my hair. You question me. If you must know, my life isn't just flowers and dandelions. Why won't you allow me to be a Venus flytrap? Ensnaring you in my words the only way I know how. You say I jump around. What if that's how I talk? What if I flip through different conversation topics like I'm channel surfing? And by the way, I'd rather watch the news than the latest period drama. It's not real, you say. What about my last name? Is that real enough for you? Because the last name Swift has gotten itself printed across countless amounts of newspapers and TV screens because I am the news, or at least my family is. I grew up fast because everyone else around me refused to. I write big words because I feel big words. My brain is a teleprompter and I'm just typing you the locutions. So now it's time for you to keep up with me. Find yourself a thesaurus, a dictionary, Google it. Get out your cell phones, take out your tablet, open your ears, because I'm about to go all dialectal on this. It seems to me that ignorance has become the indigenous to your cerebral cortex, you ignoramus. It seems that your larynx that vociferates whenever you're incorrectly putting me down falls mute when my verboseness leaves you incoherent. It's like my declarations are vermicide for those bothersome pests, and you're encephalon because when I see water, I see the life force of Homo sapiens. My ethereal being molded from the simplest thing in the universe. I see the world sculpted in a gelatinous mixture of hydrogen and oxygen, constantly shifting, changing. I said it's all condensed into 89% exactly the same. Our differences are erased by torrents of liquid life, waterfalls of human beings, tsunamis of muscle and tissue that are carbon copies of the person sitting right next to you. When I see trees, I see the bringers of a life force, the birthers of life as we know it. I see interspecies mothers wrapping their willow arms around their children in a blanket of oxygen. Selfless individuals who provide fuel for both body and brimstone. I see the only truly eternal beings from the beginning of Genesis to the end of life as we don't yet know it. You say to speak for my soul, but what you fail to realize is my soul runs on a diet of far-fetched descriptions and long-winded comparisons. My soul is dog-eared pages of memory duct-taped together by those big words I'm not supposed to know. My soul and my brain are connected by evanescent threads of knowledge, a patchwork of... that sew together a patchwork quilt of snapshots from my 15 years of life. And last time I checked, photobombing was a recent trend. Yet you judge me with only half a chapter of the 3-part extended edition, pictures included, no hard-boiled, unfinished trilogy that is my life. You want me to speak for my soul? Fine. But don't blame me if it's in a dialect you don't understand.
That is Bianca from Burke High. Some of the most verbose and skilled writing. Huge vocab on that poem and that poet.
I'm going to need those scores. I have them up in the air, please. All right, our scores from low to high are a 7.8, 8.5, 8.7, a 9, and a 9. All right, keep that enthusiasm going for Kaylin from Council Bluffs, Thomas Jefferson.
That's a 26.2 for Bianca from Burke. And Kaylin from Council Bluffs, Thomas Jefferson is up now with our second to last poem of the bout.
Hi, my name is Kaylin Snodgrass. I'm a sophomore at Thomas Jefferson High School, and my poem is called You Will Never See Me Wait for a Man. I find it funny how everyone says how beautiful Mother Nature is. At least until Mother Nature acts upon a female. And I find it absurd how a man can have his pants hang down to his knees, but if a woman were to do it, she would be asking for it. Someone once told me that men are just inherently jerks, but they cannot simply inherit being a jerk as though it is a trait passed down to his son by his father like the color of his eyes. This is something that is learned because it's a choice to fight for women or to fight against them. If superiority depends on the difference between a penis and a vagina, why does no one claim a superiority between a pen and its lid or a plug and its outlet? No, I do not hate men, but let's be real, ladies, we do just fine without them. I hate that women are oppressed and deemed inferior to a species who kick each other in the genitals and call it entertainment. I hate that women are seen for their sexual organs and physical attributes and not their brain or even their amazing sense of humor. Why exactly should I not feel safe walking down the street in the clothes I own? I hate that if a woman has a small ounce of fat lining her abdomen, she is unworthy of attention. And if her nose isn't a little button on the fabric of her skin, she is deemed ugly. And excuse me, but I feel that I should chime in to say that ugly is an opinion, not a fact. I hate that women are taught to watch their mouths and God forbid a burp escape from her apparently inadequate, too small or too fat, too red, too pink, too plump, too thin, too this, too that, lips. And God forbid a fart escape. Because then a woman is not ladylike, and what kind of man would find flatulence attractive? I hate that breasts are seen as objects of sex and not for what they truly are, and let me remind you that their purpose is to feed a hungry child, not to feed anyone's insatiable hunger for intimacy. Why do women have to be taught to wait for their Romeo, their shred of light in their dark damsel in distress lives, and not for their opportunity to become strong and independent? I will never wait for an undeserving king, nor will I bear his children, even if that is my womanly duty. Because this is a place where the woman's job is to have children and care for them, while the man works and takes care of the child only when it is convenient to him. It's unfair that what's expected of me is purely the use of my uterus and my loyalty to an undeserving husband. My entire life I will fight for the wages and the respect my 2 younger brothers will earn just for being male. If I have to gather all my sisters, march down to City Hall, and burn all the bras again so the powers that be will finally hear us, then so be it. It's not that I wish that females were superior, because all that I want is for us to be equal. You will never see me wait for a man, because few men have ever been taught to wait for a woman.
All right, that is Kayla Snodgrass, one of the most powerful kind of political pieces, but keeping it real, keeping it personal to her. Really cool. Council Bluffs, Thomas Jefferson, another new
Scores, if
school
you
in
would
our
be so
competition
kind.
this year. So it's
Malota
great
High,
to
we have a
already
7.9. We have an 8.0. And an 8.6. 8.7? 9.6. All right. Last and very not least, Nathan from Omaha Central. Bring him up.
So that is a 25.3 for Kayla from Thomas Jefferson and Council Bluffs. This is Nathan from Central.
All right, hey everybody. My name is Nathan Check. I'm from Omaha Central High School. Oh, that was weak. Okay. And the title of my poem, well, it's an ode to my beard. You have many names. Face fungus, wild whiskers, rebellious bristles, seductive stubble. Face forest, crumb catcher, suburbs of the chin, magnificent cheek moss. This is dedicated to you. You are the one thing that has made me realize what it truly means to be an adult, or at least look like one. Without you, I would be half the man I am today. You brought me one step closer to looking like a professional lumberjack, because we all know that that beards dramatically increase wood chopping abilities. Without you, I would be diagnosed with a severe case of baby face. And now that I think of it, many great men in the history of this earth have had beards. Abraham Lincoln, the members from ZZ Top. And let us not forget about Chewbacca, whose beard covered his entire body. Hopefully, in 2 years, I'll be able to reach the beard level of a wise wizard who loves adventures. Gandalf, I am coming for you. But you are so much more than that. You are the camouflage that conceals the acne that plagues my teenage face. You are the confidence that supports my weakened smile every time I feel like I am not good enough. And I must admit, I used to shave every 2 days because my ex-girlfriend couldn't stand to feel my stubble when I kissed her. And so she stopped letting me. But to the girls who would make me choose between them and my bushy friend, I hope the door doesn't hit you on the way out of my life. I remember when you first started spreading your infant follicles outward from my upper lip. Oh, how the seventh grade boys awed and gawked at me with jealousy. Oh, how the girls trembled in terror. I remember when the principal of our private Catholic middle school, who enforced a strict shortcut hair/school uniform policy, came up to me and told me, I've never had to tell a student this before, but I am going to have to ask you to shave. Now, to me, this sounded nothing less than a declaration of war, and I was ready to go to battle. You see, my beard acts as a homing beacon, attracting the jealousy and the admiration of the beardless. To my mother, who calls me her black-bearded baby, that is the only nickname out of dozens that I'm okay with you saying in public. To my father, who says that I don't look like his baby boy anymore. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm growing up faster than you had hoped for. I'm sorry that I'm going to college and that I cannot take you with me. When you asked me to shave for my high school graduation ceremony, I was reluctant to agree to your terms and conditions. But then those words echoed through my head over and over again. You don't look like my baby boy anymore. And that's when I realized that some things are worth sacrificing just so you get to see the warm smile of a loved one get spread across their face. So I am proud to say that within a few weeks, I will graduate with a diploma and a clean-shaven face just for you, Dad. Because I will always be your baby boy. So maybe this isn't an ode so much as an ode. Like, it's not an ode anymore. Maybe it's just a eulogy.
That is Nathan from Central. One poet that I can say I'm very proud to coach in Louder Than a Bomb this year.
First round.
So I'm going to get really mad
right.
at these judges if they don't
Judges.
get straight tens.
Let me see your numerical appreciation for facial hair. All right, from low to high, we have an 8.0. Then we have a 9. A 9. A 9.1. And a 9.1. And that is the end of our first round. Actually, Andrew, do we have the standings? Okay, we will wait a second for Andrew, and then we will be declaring who goes next.
Share the.
What?
Tell people the live stream address.
Oh yeah, the live stream address. If you have people who do not have their lives right and they are not here, they can hop on our live stream being run by the amazing Greg Harries right here with the headphones and the machines. And yeah, say hi to the internet, everybody. And if you have people who would like to watch this, the web address for that is www.youtube.com/LTAB Omaha. LTAB Omaha. I spelled it out for you people. youtube.com/LTAB Omaha. You're welcome. Awesome. Okay. And we are getting the second round underway as
All right. So we're tabulating the scores. We're going to go from high scores to
Adam,
low scores to adjust for score creep and
round?
such. So here's the round.
Order?
Yeah, sure. I'll give the order. All right, first up, Aisang. Second, Haley. Then Nathan. Then Maribel, Bianca, Kaylin, Chris, and then finally Megan. So
first up,
prepare yourself. First up, Aisang.
Taesung is first up for the second round.
Woo-hoo!
All the way up.
Hello, it's me again, Taesung Kim, and this poem is called Teddy Bear. The sun always rises from the east, but not that day. The day when 200 feet tall gigantic teddy bear was standing outside of my window. I first looked at it. I saw its white face and its peaceful two black eyes. My little brother yells that it's from the outside, the world is from like alien or something, but I think it's from the apple. I think that bloody Steve Jobs invented the innovative, impressive, futuristic stuff and put it in the middle of the street for the advertisement covering my house and block my sunshine. So, but the one thought up in my head, the one that, advertised on the like, TV. So I turned the TV and there was a news. As always, the weathercaster was like casting a weather about tomorrow. But like always, she was naked and having a sex with other weathercaster and showing a will that bloody teddy bear will not take her rating. But unfortunately for me, or unfortunately for you, the advertisement on the TV show blocked the news every 10 seconds, every chance it gets. So I turn off the TV. I mean, what would I pay for like money if there's program without sex or violence? Totally useless, So I went outside and it was really better, Some people get around the teddy bear and take a selfie with the newest iPod. And I knew at that moment that this is definitely from the Steve Jobs. But some other people, looks like old scholars and old professors, will gather around and praise it and say this is the best fine art in the city. They say this is the 7 times better than art gallery because it makes 7 times better new profit. Remember, artistic is not immeasurable, but revenue is measurable. I was looking at people taking a selfie, where the kids having a sex, and the big gigantic teddy bear from nowhere covering my house and window, and I thought that the world is spinning like it's normal. My mom was yelling at too, and my sister was yelling at too. My mom and my sister says that, this is gone enough. My sister was yelling at those Steve Jobs company and said, I knew it. I knew that they were evil since they dropped me off from their job interview. And my mom replied to her, then that's why you don't go to the college, because you're not going to get a job anyway. Makes me sad too. So I went inside and I cried about it because the world is nothing changed, even though there is a big giant teddy bear from the outside. That's
Hey, Tay Song from Mount Michael
Get some sweet numbers
with
written
the
down.
dismount of the year. That's it.
Judges, up
Mount
with
Michael
the
has some of the
numbers.
most unique writing
Also,
in the
congratulations
competition.
on not score creeping. That's a good job. Okay, cool. From low to high, we have a 7.4, 7.5, 7.9, 8.6, 8.9. All right, good warm up for Haley from Bell West.
All right, so I'll have to do some math. Oh wait, no, that's a 24. Hey, cool. That was easy math. That's a 24 even for Tay Song. So that gives him a running total of 51.5. Here's Haley.
My name
from
is
Bellevue
Haley,
West.
and I'm a senior from Bellevue West.
Something cool here!
For Angelo Mendoza Jr., 4-year-old child from Bakersfield, California, famous for saying, "My daddy ate my eyes out." Son, I love you. Daddy was just off his medication. I had magma 150 kilometers deep, ready to burst. Sulfur dioxide had me thinking anything but straight. There was an explosion in my mind. And I couldn't keep it to myself. Cecilia was at an all-time high. You were in my 20-mile radius. Child abuse, a composite volcano, 2-millimeter rocks bit you at 2,300,000 miles per second. But my lava oozed onto your eyes, slowly, painfully. They should have taken you away when they found PCP in my crib 3 years prior. My passion burned brighter than they thought my rage, my ash, my disorder could. Pyroclastic flows destroyed your love for me, yet when you think of what we once had, I still cause a stunning sunset in your mind. I hope your $2,400 of my life sentence in a mental institution is enough to make up for your missing left eye. I just couldn't let you see me chop off my legs with an axe and a ceramic plate I used to feed you with. Look into the sun and pray with me. Self-inflicted lateral blasts could knock down entire forests. They found you naked, bloody, unconscious next to underwear soaked in urine. When did the shaking stop? Hydrogen sulfide, methane, and carbon monoxide rained my apologies on your skin like no doctor's hands could. No volcanologist could measure my next explosion. Press winded my volcanic gases around the world. I was famous for devouring you, my son. My love. I changed landscapes with my eruption, built new ground low enough for child abusers to walk on. I'm sorry. I contaminated your tears with my impulsive outbursts. I hope your water supply filters out my traumatizing tephra faster than the ophthalmologist thinks you can. Please. Don't be afraid to cry. Because the more tears that stream from your eye, the faster you'll plant rich, fertile soil to grow. Son, I love you. Daddy was just off his medication.
That is Haley from Bellevue West, again a senior. One of the most powerful, loud voices in this competition. She's been in it for 3 years, and her writing and her voice have grown immeasurably in that time.
8.9, 9.1, 9.1, 9.4, and a 9.5. Next up, welcome back to Beard, Nathan from Omaha Central.
All right, so that's a 27.6 for Haley, improving on her 27.3. That's a 54.9 for her. Here's Nathan from Central.
Hello, I'm Nathan. Okay. Okay, so I'm Nathan Check. I'm from Omaha Central High School. A little better? No? Okay, this poem's dedicated to my grandpa, who's hopefully watching the... Well, wait, no, he doesn't know how to use a computer. Anyway. I remember one time while I was getting picked up from school, my grandfather told me to put on my seatbelt. Since when do you care about my safety? I asked. And he replied, I don't. I just don't want you breaking my windshield. This is the same man who handed me a $20 bill, and just to piss off my dad, he told me to spend it on beer. I was 12 years old at the time. And in case you haven't caught on, he's got a pretty sick sense of humor, but maybe that's why we get along so well. You know, I promise you he has his sweet side. I remember the first time he told me about when he met my grandmother at a ballroom dance in Lincoln. Despite the fact that he showed up with 2 left feet and no one to dance with. But when he saw her, confidence convinced him that he had the moves to win her hearts. And he did. He said from that moment on, he knew he wouldn't want to dance with anyone else but her for the rest of his life. I think about that story a lot because my grandfather taught me what to look for in a life partner. Our elders have a lot to offer, and he offered me imagination. In his living room, I would construct century-old castles, fortresses of solitude, entire empires designed by my mind's eye and built from the ground up thanks to his endless supply of itchy wool blankets and impenetrable pillow building blocks. I remember one time after watching all 3 Star Wars movies in a row, I challenged him to a duel. And don't worry, it was the first trilogy, because we all know Jar Jar Binks was an abomination. I was the Sith Lord, wielding my lightsaber broomstick. He was the Jedi Master, a paler, taller version of Master Yoda. And I would always play the villain because I could never imagine him being anything other than my biggest hero. Decorated war veteran. He once said that politicians are the ones who start the wars, but the poor are the ones sent to fight them. And so he was stationed in Europe in 1951. He didn't know why he was there, but he didn't care. And so, September 1951, he's climbed the Eiffel Tower twice. November 1951, he has sailed through the canals of Amsterdam and makes note that trading is done off the boats there. June 1952, he has seen the ruins of Munich, Germany, and seen the horrors of World War II. He doesn't remember why he's there. He asks himself, why? Why am I here? And so he was eager to return back to the United States. Despite returning to Europe, the land where his family tree planted its roots, he didn't feel like home to him. He was lost in a foreign land and eager to come back to those who loved him most, and when he did, he decided to attend a ballroom dances at Lincoln rather than enlist again. Now that I think of it, before dropping me off at the house I grew up in, he would always speak in his native tongue. Yete doma. You are home. But if home is where the heart is, and this stage is where I belong, this microphone is my weapon of choice, and this is where I fight my battles. I choose to live in this moment with you, the people who have filled my chest with inspiration and given my ribs a reason to encage these poems that have been mimicking heart attacks every time I let my glossophobia get the best of me, every time I was convinced that my voice should be silenced, but my grandfather taught me that if silence is golden, then my voice is platinum. So, let me be the first to tell you all, the audience, no, you, my equals, you, my friends, let me be the first to tell you all, Jekuyu Yasam Doma. Thank you. I am home.
All right, that is Nathan from Central. Proud to say both of his poems for this competition are brand new. Such a skilled writer.
Turn it down for this. Thank you. All right, judges, give me your scores. Very good. From a low to high, we have a 9.0. A 9.0. A 9.0. A 9.2. And a 9.6. All right, give it up to Maribel from Walton. Come on up.
All right, so that's a 27.2. Judges didn't mind the memory slip there for Nathan. And Maribel from Ralston is up now.
My baby sisters are Aztec princesses. Goddess to the Mayan, they are Latin American royalty. My baby sisters are little poinsettia flowers, the Latino representation of purity, so I write this for them, little poinsettia flowers. You are descendants of warrior women and battalion men who fought to get you away from a war that I wish I could tell you was over now. But as you have recently come to realize, this is not the case. Little poinsettia flowers. You have recently been introduced to a war that I had hoped I would never need to prepare you for. So when a 6th grader told Raven, "You don't belong here," at the same time as a 7th grader told Jolene, "The only thing you run from is border patrol," at a freaking soccer tryout dominated by white girls, my fingers clenched into fists at the thought of anyone telling my little poinsettia flowers that they need to go back to where they came from. I ask you, where on earth do you think that is? Little poinsettia flowers. Following in your cultural footsteps is something you will never have to explain to anyone. Your eyes burn with the Latin fire that your generation keeps forgetting they have. Your skin is the color of every cup of café con leche that has ever touched our ancestors' lips. Your bones sing the songs of the fallen who fought to get you here, and your hearts beat for those who forgot the meaning of their own. Little poinsettia flowers. No borders were crossed in the makings of your lives. You are not illegal immigrants. You are Mexican, Chilean, Argentinian, but you were born in Chicago, Illinois. Baby girls, the way you identify culturally has nothing to do with your citizenship status. Baby girls, I wish I could tell you that this is the last time you will ever encounter this, but if I told you that, I'd be lying. The truth is, a police officer stopped me when I was younger to check my purse for stolen objects. A teacher asked me if I needed a translator in a class in which I was the only person of color. I had a woman at work tell me, "You are not Latina." But because I was born in the United States, I need to identify as a white child. And my 8th grade vice principal told me, "Uncle Sam wants you to speak English." Little poinsettia flowers. Own your heritage. Because when people start to tell you that you don't belong here, this will be all that you have. So bear the colors of your flags from Chile, Argentina, Mexico, and from the United States of America, because little poinsettia flowers, you are Aztec princesses. Goddess to the Mayan, you are Latin American royalty, not just commoners in a country that has not yet accepted your crowns. So little poinsettia flowers, you will never need to run from anything. And this is exactly where you belong.
All right, that is Maribel from Ralston High School. Again, she represented Omaha already on a national scale at the Women of the World Poetry Slam this year and did amazingly well. She's been with LTAB since the beginning, and we're going to miss her.
From low to high, our scores are a 9.0. 9.4, 9.5, 9.7, and a 9.8. All right, keep that applause going as we welcome Bianca from Burke.
That's a huge score for Maribel. That's a 28.6 for Maribel in her second round. She's carrying a 26.8 from the earlier round, so that'll get her into finals for sure. I think that puts her in the lead. So great score for Maribel. Here's Bianca from Burke.
Hello. My name is Bianca Swift from Burke High School, and this is Awkward Love. I'd say we're gonna last forever, baby, but that's just too cliche. Overused and understood, isn't that always the way? So baby, we're like Twinkies, everlasting, bite-sized, cream inside, no fasting. Years go by, no change, everyone thinks it's quite strange that there are no flies, but don't they know that Twinkies never die? They're stronger than that, have too many calories, too little nutrients, just the right amount of fat. The ingredients are a mixture of Japanese drugs and chemicals. At least that's what it sounds like. Words jumbled with upside-down explanation points, percent signs, and that weird freaking squiggly. But even then, you don't think twice. You buy that crap. And lady, when you sit with them on your lap, you know they're bad for you. They won't do you no good. Thinking about taking it back and buying a better snack like you know you should. Be eating the sugar if it rained down like snow from above. But you need it, just like you need my awkward love. You hate it, the addiction, worse than sci-fi fantasy fiction. When push comes to shove, you need it, just like my awkward love. It destroys you inside, my awkward love, makes you want to run and hide from my awkward love. You need it, just the same as you need, I was going to say air, but that's just too cliche. Overused and understood, isn't that always the way? So how about instead I say, baby, I need you like I need bacteria in my veins. Without it, I'd swear I'd go insane. Symbiotic, slightly psychotic, not something often mentioned in acceptable conversation topics. I know it's hard to understand without having to overstate how I need you in my life or I can't think straight. Without you, my proverbial glue, I don't know what I'd do. But thinking about it makes me realize why good things come in twos. Whoever's up there knew I couldn't make it on my own. I drive myself crazy, so he threw me a bone. It seems he realized you can't get out of a straitjacket alone. The awkward love is brewing, madness ensuing, and someone else drank the punch. Crazy is better if done in pairs, gives life a little crunch. Oddities are everyday, rarities even more so, even though it seems to me awkward is also. Crazy is commonplace, insanity a familiar face. So all in all, I guess you can say that being special isn't all that special, and unique not really at all. It's caring that really matters, and if you take the fall. Love is slightly scary, it can bring you to your knees, has the potential to get hairy, and breeds jealousy like disease. It's awkward and uncomfortable, but wholly unforgettable. It causes strain on emotions already quite unmanageable. But if you do it right, through love, play, and fights, our awkward love can bring out something unimaginable. So one last time, for old time's sake, I need you like I need, I was going to say my heart, but let's get one thing straight. My heart is an organ, it pumps blood through my veins, but if that's all it takes, I'll go without it for days. In fact, take my heart and my stomach too, especially since lately you just want to overreact with you. Body, nervous system, and urinary tract, the amount of body parts I had showed how much I loved you, nothing would stay intact. Hasta la vista lungs, sayonara tongue, livers would go flying, kidneys would be flung, digits would be strewn across the floor in disarray. If I could prove my love through that, you would never stray. Love is forever, air and heart. Love between two people is the best kind of art. But awkward love sets us apart, because the norm doesn't define how we choose to start. We are different, random, and free. Love is hard, but awkwardness comes easy.
That is Bianca from Burke. And let's get those scores.
All right, on judges. Those numbers are working. Expo dry erase. All right, lift them on up. From low to high, it looks like we have a 9.0. We have a 9.1. We have a 9.3. We have a 9.4. And a 9.5. All right. Give it up for Kaylin from Council Bluffs, Thomas Jefferson.
Hi, I'm Kaylin Snodgrass. I'm a sophomore at Thomas Jefferson High School. My poem is called The Plague of Iowa. Everyone has a story or an adventure they must share, whether they start in a closet under the stairs, in a little hobbit hole, or even high in a tower guarded by dragons. But for me, there is no story to be told. There isn't an adventure I must share. There is no dragon who has locked me away, because in my hometown, there is nothing. Nothing except the house across the street with the peeling yellow paint and the house next door with the near roofless garage. Nothing except dead grass in my yard and that yard and yeah, that one too, and all the yards up to the end of the block. There is nothing but the faded red of the playground monkey bars and the swimming pool everyone flocks to in the summer heat, and the occasional concert, but that's in the town next door. We're not even on the map, but even if we were, no one would look for us. No one says that they want to visit Council Bluffs. Oh, you mean that one town with O-Face Bar and Farrah from Teen Mom? Yeah, that's the one. There is no special little diner every town should have, nor is there anyone who ever really wants to get out. All we seem to have is a few little pet stores, a Walmart, and the Toys R Us with the most disgusting bathroom anyone has ever seen. Oh, and of course a McDonald's on every other block, and another one next to Walmart. The people are plagued with mullets and a lack of shirts, as well as an apparent lack of running water and shampoo. For God's sake, we even have a Facebook page for us, appropriately titled Only in Council Bluffs. And only in Council Bluffs, indeed, because only in Council Bluffs will you find the Golden Spike, one of the nation's great monuments, next to a trailer park. All I'm saying is that there's a reason we're known as Council-tucky. There is no excitement or even so much as a glimmer of, wow, that was fun, because going to Walmart when you're bored is not fun. And going to a creaky little park with condoms on the concrete is not fun. As much as I hit on good old CB, it is the town I have grown up in, it is the place I call home, and it is most definitely where I am most comfortable. Even if the only adventure I could speak of is trying to drive down Broadway without dying. Even if the best thing about us is the Black Angel statue in the middle of a graveyard. Even if Farrah Abram, teen mom turned porn star, is our best asset. And even if there's a crackhead across from my grandma's house who sweeps her grass. Every story has its own characters, its own unique, special little characters that make it what it is. And believe me when I say that there is absolutely no shortage of those characters in Council Bluffs.
All right, that is Kayla from Council Bluffs, Thomas Jefferson, writing about her hometown like only she can.
All right, judges,
New angle from her this year, so nice to see that.
Turn art into numbers for me. All right, low to high, we have an 8.8, 8.9, 8.9, 9.5, and a 9.8. All right, keep the applause going for Chris from Lincoln Southeast.
It's a 27.3 for Kayla, adding to her 25.3, which will give her a 52.6 total. And here's Chris from Lincoln Southeast, our second to last poet of the bout.
Okay, the poem is called All the Things That I Can't Say. Sometimes I feel as if my emotions would be more eloquently articulated by yelling funk. Funk, defined as a style of music popularized in the late 60s, comprised of melodic sounds and complex groovy beats and rhythms made with rhythmic instruments characteristics similar to a song that I heard when I first left my town. My last word while in said town, the same that I was alluding to in the beginning. The same word that I would say when my naive little heart met a break, and I didn't know why, and dudes aren't supposed to cry, so I'll just hate her. The same word that I would say when I realized that I loved her. But it was after the fact, because it's all in the past, but that past is you. And it still remains true that hate coalesces with 3 words. I love you. Same word I would say under my breath as a lonely new freshman, steadily counting down the days until I could return to a town that had long since forgotten me. Same thing that I would say when I broke my best friend's heart for the first time. So she wrote lines largely consisting of 391, the number of days she'd given to me. Same thing I say when Hannah or Kevin or Jake say come back. We miss you. It's not the same without you. I doubt you, but I miss you. I don't feel the same when I'm with you, like the field has changed or my feelings change. I think it's both, and both I'm oblivious to. The word that's like funk, but instead of an N, there's a C or a void inside me. Call it the prescription for a shell-shot new kid. But that doesn't fill the void, that's anger. And this word is anger, and that anger mangled me, or maybe it made me. You see, hate is such a basic emotion, denoting something so strong, metaphorically louder than a bomb, and I hate it. But I don't know why. Because I have so much to love.
And that is Chris from Lincoln Southeast, a new team in the tournament this year. I thought he was really underscored for his first round poem. Some really powerful and lyrical writing.
All right, numbers, give now, please.
So let's see how the judges react to this one.
Okay, cool. From low to high, we have an 8.0. We have an 8.5. We have an 8.6. We have an 9.3. And 9.9. Once again, last but very not least, Megan from Bell East.
That is a 26.4 for Chris from Lincoln Southeast, adding well to his 24.8. And last up is Megan from Bellevue East.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I'm from Bellevue East. And this poem is called Constellations. When I asked my mother how she and my dad first started talking, she said, "It all started with constellations." You see, my dad is a quiet person, but once you strike a chord with him, once you show him that you understand, he can talk for hours. She asked him about the constellations, asked him where the Big Bang was, asked him to point out Orion's belt, and from that day on, they never looked back. They were bonded together by seemingly useless information, but it was the stars that brought them together, and if that doesn't sound like fate, I don't know what does. I asked her, when was the first time she told him she loved him? She said she whispered it in French, "Je t'aime," because she was too afraid to say it out loud. I guess some things just happen. But sometimes it's more about the implications of love is a word we don't say in my house. Unless I'm talking to the assortment of house pets, I don't say I love you because it seems children learn by example. My parents don't say it because they're afraid I will use it against them. But every time my mother says, "Are you sure you don't need another jacket?" When my father pretends to listen when I'm talking to him, the "I love you" is implied. The first and only time I ever told my mother I hated her, she immediately responded with, "Yeah, I'm sure you do." But I'm not going to pretend I didn't hear her crying later. I'm not going to pretend I didn't cry too. And it frustrates me that I can tell my mother I hate her, but I'm not brave enough to say I love you, and the honest truth is I wish I was. The honest truth is I cannot stop thinking about the constellations, about the implications of love, about the way we mean what we say, but we never say what we mean. But on that night, under that map of stars, I hope they said everything they ever wanted to say to each other. I hope she told him how long she'd been loving him from afar, how much she'd hoped for him. I hope he told her none of the other girls understood that he'd been looking for someone whose broken parts squeak at the same frequency. I hope they were scared. I hope they were nervous. I hope they said it anyway, forever stitching the stars together. And the honest truth is, ever since I heard that story, I am fascinated by constellations, by the notion that I am a collaboration of constellations. That from Earth, stars look like tiny dots of light, but you still get the implication that somewhere a fire is burning.
All right. That is Megan from Bellevue East, coming in with a very nice, very gentle poem to close the bout. Really
All
great
right,
writing in that.
We're
going to have our final scores
Let me
coming up
see those
in
scores
just a
for
little
this
bit.
round. All right. Low to high, our scores are a 9.0, 9.0, 9.1, 9.2, and a 9.2. All right, and so I'm assuming you probably all know this by the fact that you're here, but if you don't, this is a whole day competition of individual poets from various schools coming up, and there's going to be another bout after this, followed by another preliminary bout, and then finally the finals, from which 4 people from this bout will be going on to tonight at 7. And Andrew is approaching me with the results. So, woo! Hi. All right. Going on from this round to the finals will be Haley from Bellevue West, Maribel from Ralston, Bianca from Burt, and Kaylin from Council Bluffs, Thomas Jefferson. And stick around for the rest of the bout, people. It's going to be quite a show.
Judges, you can bring, if you all are leaving, you can bring those to me. You're staying. Everyone should stay because it's going to start again really soon. So go to the bathroom, pump up the jams, have a really good, 4 seconds of your life. If you're a poet in this second bout, please come to the stage for the bout draw. There's one. Yes.
All right, so moving on, we have to the next round, to our finals at 7 o'clock. We have Haley from Bellevue West. We've got Maribel from Ralston, Bianca from Burke, and Kayla from Council Bluffs, Thomas Jefferson. Nathan would have scored eligibly to get into those finals, but he has prom tonight, so he has to bow out. So that's a goodbye to Nathan from Central, and some fond farewell to him. He's a senior this year, graduating, as he mentioned in his second poem, or in his first poem, so he's just hate to see him go. We also say goodbye to Taesung from Mount Michael. I'm not sure if he's I think he has another year with us in LTAB. We also have to say goodbye to Chris from Lincoln Southeast, Megan from Bellevue East, and I think that's everyone that we have to say goodbye to. So I'm going to shut down this live stream. We're going to start up a new one in just a second, so look for that on our YouTube page, and I'll see you guys there. Bye for now.